Are you tired of not having enough money at the end of every month? In this video, I'll share with you 3 financial habits to help you manage your money better. Hi everyone, my name is Ashokh. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you about 3 very important financial habits. Let's get started. The first financial habit is manage your money. It's really about tracking your income, tracking your expenses, and definitely it is about ensuring that you have savings. What is a mistake people make when it comes to saving money? They do not pay themselves first. More often than not, when they have an income, they tend to pay everyone else. So it's always income minus expenses, then they save, which will be very irregular. But what should they be really doing? Pay themselves. How? Income minus savings, then you expense it out. So you should always pay yourself first. And how do you do that? Well, for one, you got to start tracking all your expenses. In the description below, there's a link. I'd like you to download the cash flow statement I prepared for you right now. And I'm going to walk you through how you can save money and track all your expenses so that you can manage your money better. Let's go through this worksheet together. Right at the top is gross income. So write it down. So you've got your monthly gross income, then you minus off your taxes, your provident funds you're paying, or sometimes some of you may have had taken loans from your employers. Minus all of that, then what you will have is your net income. Now from your net income, let's now pay yourself, which is 10% of your net income. So pay yourself first. So you've got your net income less of 10%, which is your savings. And now let's look at how do you now expense the balance of your money. Right at the top after savings is your fixed expenses. What are fixed expenses? These are expenses that you know at the top of your head. Things like your mortgage funds, your loan repayments, your children's education funds, whatever you're setting aside on a monthly basis, predictable amount of money that you know that you're setting aside. That is your fixed expense. And your fixed expense should be about 50% of your income. Now, once you've done that, then we look at the next expense, which is your variable expense. What is a variable expense? This is something that changes on a month-to-month basis because it could be your transportation costs, it could be your food, other forms of groceries, marketing. It fluctuates on a month-to-month basis, but you need to be on top of it and you need to track what you're spending on a monthly basis. So that's your variable expense, and that should be roughly about 15% of your income. So now you've taken care of your savings, you've taken care of your fixed expenses and your variable expense. Then the next portion is your investments. You need to invest for your future self. And you should set aside about 15% or so, right, for your future self. And after which you set aside 10% for personal development. This could be courses that you are interested in. This could be hobbies that you want to pursue, equipment that you want to buy. Right? So set aside about 10% for that. And of course, we all have to enjoy our life too. So the last 10% is for your fun expense. You should be out there enjoying yourself too. It could be for holidays, whether it's locally or globally. It could be just for having a great time with your friends or so. Right? So what you'll notice now is this. You have an income and you need to track everything. You know when you get your salaries. A week before, you sit down and budget your expense. It is extremely important for you to budget your expense. So then you know where you are going to be spending your money, not when somebody else is going to be spending your money for you. There is one expense that is killing you without even you being aware about it. Your daily expenses. See, you have gone through this situation before. You have withdrawn money from your ATM, $50 perhaps, put in your wallet, and maybe at the end of the day, when you look at it, you go, where did my money go? I have no idea. Yes, I kid you not. What I used to do in the past, I used to carry this book. And I used to jot down every expense on a daily basis. So what I'll do is when I wake up in the morning, I would see this notebook in my dressing table. So I'll pick it up, I'll put it in my pocket, so that becomes a reminder for me. Every little expense, whether it's my coffee, my petrol, my transportation, my lunch that I have, every single item has to be recorded. And you need to do this for at least 3 months, because every month there will be fluctuations. So you need to understand how you're spending your money on a daily basis. Today, of course, we have different apps for that. Personally, for me now, I moved from that book to an app called Money Lover app. I kind of enjoy it. But you might be using different type of apps. Again, whichever works for you, use it. The most important thing is use something to help you track your daily expenses. And once you've tracked your daily expenses, relate it back to your variable expense. And where you can cut down your expenses. And you need to get into the habit. So you need to have a dedicated time end of the month when you track all your expenses. You need to ensure you track your daily expenses, and most importantly, you need to pay yourself first, which is your savings, right? And all of this together encompasses habit number 1, manage your money. Habit number 2 is make more money. For this habit, we need to shift our mindset. This is sometime back in 2004. A friend of mine, he was moving with his whole family to New Zealand. So I caught up with him over dinner, and he shared with me his frustrations. He was saying, I'm moving with my whole family and I can't find a job. So I asked him, why do you need a job? He said, hey, I need to pay for my bills. I got family to look after. So I looked at him and asked him, so why do you need a job? He said, hey, I'm not going there for a holiday. I need a job. So I asked him again, why do you need a job? He said, I need the money to put food on the table. So I stopped here and looked at him and asked him, do you need a job or do you need an income? More often than not, we are very fixed in our mind. We think that it's only a job that will give us an income. A job is only one source of income. We can make income from many other avenues, whether it's through investments or through a skill, something that we enjoy, our own passion. So if you're employed, can you look for multiple revenue streams? Of course, you should be looking at multiple revenue streams, because employment income is only one income stream. You should be looking at different type of income streams. And even better if it's through your passion, because once you start earning more income, do not forget your first habit, which is managing it. It will help us lead into your third habit. This brings us to habit number 3, which is all about growing your money. So remember, in habit number 1, we talked about your cash flow statement. The first thing is about putting aside money for yourself. Savings. Where would you put your savings? In a bank. Let's say, for example, the bank gives you a 2% interest rate. And let's also just say, for example, that inflation rate is 4%. What that effectively means is the value of your money is eroding if it just stays in the bank, because your purchasing power, what you can use to buy with your money, is dropping because of the high inflation rate. So what you need to do is to ensure that the money that you save grows beyond the inflation rate. How much more than the inflation rate? Well, if you look at 2% above inflation, assuming it's 6%, what that effectively means is you're just nicking inflation, just above inflation. So you may want to look at something more than just 2% above inflation. And for that, you need to follow some important principles. There are 4 steps that I'm going to take you through. Step number 1, you need to set aside emergency funds in your savings. You need to set aside maybe 3 to 6 months of your monthly income as emergency, because you will never know why you may need to tap into it. So just set aside 3 to 6 months. Anything above 3 to 6 months, it needs to be invested to give you a higher rate of return. That's how you grow your money. So step number 2, do a risk profile. There are many risk profiling tools out there in the internet. Look for one where you do not have to divulge your personal information, and that is quite objective enough. Choose one and complete a risk profile. In the risk profile, it probably will tell you 3 things. Either you are low risk, medium risk, or high risk. Now, based on your risk profile, you must take the 3rd step. You need to research for those financial instruments that will give you a higher rate of return based on your risk profile. You cannot run away from step number 3, which is all about research. How can you do the research? You can read about it, whether in the internet, the library or so, that's fine. But the best way to learn, ask your network of people who you know have invested, whether they've invested in property, equities, bonds, unit trusts or mutual funds, whatever they've invested in, ask them. But ask them very important questions. Questions like, what would you do differently today? What are the mistakes that you have made? What would you avoid? Learn from them and understand what are the characteristics of the different financial instruments. Now, once you've got a good, comfortable grasp of the different financial instruments and what you're comfortable with putting your money into, I would suggest take the 4th step, which is revisiting your risk profile. Because now you have new knowledge, so it'll reconfirm, or perhaps you might shift your risk preference. Now you're ready to invest your money. And this wraps up habit number 3, which is all about growing your money. My dear friends, thank you for watching this video. I really hope what I've shared will help you in your life. Do remember to subscribe to the Ideas and Inspiration channel, and do share this with all your friends too. If you do have any queries or questions or comments about the 3 habits that I've shared, please write it down on the comments. I will get back to you. And I want to learn from you too about what you do differently that is making your life better. With that, my dear friends, thank you very much and have a fun life.